Canada's Liberal Khalistan refugee policy has created tensions in Toronto. The ugly attack on the Baptist Swami Narayan Temple in Toronto has once again exposed Canada as a hotspot for pro-Khalistani elements sponsored by the Pakistani IC deep state, as opposed to the image of a multicultural Canada that its Prime Minister Justin Trudeau loves to flaunt internationally. This is not the first time temples have been attacked by Pakistan-sponsored. Khalistan has attacked temples in Canada. In 2021, a series of Pakistan-sponsored attacks on various Hindu temples in Brampton and Hamilton led to widespread protests by the local Hindu community. In February, a radio show host was attacked for denouncing these few radical Khalistani elements in Brampton. Meanwhile, the Indian High Commission as well as many Indian-origin lawmakers in Canada have condemned the incident. While hate crimes against the productive and tax-paying Hindu Canadians and attacks on Hindu temples by Pakistan-sponsored Khalistani elements have increased exponentially in the last few years, Canadian politicians have actively collaborated with the local Khalistanis. Sikhs for Justice, a banned outfit in India, was recently organising truck rallies in Canada for an upcoming Khalistan referendum event set to take place in a government-owned and operated facility, the Gore Meadow Community Centre. What can be more shocking than the fact that Jaspal Atwal, a Khalistani terrorist who led a failed assassination attempt on Punjab Cabinet Minister Malkiyat Singh Sidhu, was a part of Prime Minister Trudeau's delegation on his visit to India in 2018. Another terrorist, Dalwinder Singh Parmar, chief plotter of the 1987 Air India plane bombing in Ireland, was debarred from entering next-door neighbour United States, but Canadian authorities never took similar action against him. It can't be denied that Pakistan, where forced conversion to Islam and persecution of Sikhs has reduced the community from 20% of Pakistan's population to less than 0.001%, is behind the resurgence of the Khalistan project. However, the Canadian government's inaction and vote bank politics by appeasing Khalistanis has come back to haunt Canada dangerously. A report by a Canada-based think tank, Macdonald-Laurier Institute, that looked into Khalistan as a geopolitical project of Pakistan noted that it threatens the national security of not only India but Canada as well. With illegal refugees and tax-evading immigrants, Canada, Swami Narayan Temple defaced with anti-India slogans, India raises the issue of Pakistan-sponsored Khalistan radicals in Canada, from vandalism of Hindu temple to Khalistan referendum. The growing pro-Khalistan movement in Canada does not bode well for Canada. The growing nexus between drug dealers, gang violence and illegal refugee claimants in Canada and Khalistani elements is becoming a huge security headache for both countries. Earlier this year, an Indian singer, Sidhu Moosewala, was shot dead by a Canada-based gangster, Goldie Brar, taking responsibility for the attack. There is a growing realization among the Canadian political class that its appeasement of Khalistanis is costing Canada its bilateral relations with India, promoting Khalistani gang violence and promoting illegal refugee claimants. India also appointed Ajay Bisaria as High Commissioner to Canada, whose task was cut out to sensitize the Canadian government about the linkages between Khalistanis and Pakistan's IC. Interestingly, Bisaria served as High Commissioner to Pakistan in 2019 and is more than aware of the ugly designs of the Pakistani army and spy agencies. Sikhs for Justice, the organization which spearheads Khalistani activities, has often sought support from Pakistan for its propaganda and funding activities. In 2018, Sikh for Justice, SFJ, announced that it would open a permanent office in Lahore, Pakistan, to coordinate referendum activities and serve as an information center for Sikhs. India had formally submitted a request in 2021 to the Canadian administration demanding a ban on Sikhs for Justice, a terrorist organization. However, looking at the way this non-state terrorist organization is conducting a referendum event with no intervention by the Canadian authorities, it can be safely concluded that authorities are not being acted on this threat. The recent defacing of a Swaminarayan temple proves that the Indian government must take it up with its Canadian counterpart. There are enough Canadian interests to contain this radical Khalistan movement conducted by a few thousands paid by Pakistan. The Business Councils in Canada is eager to seal a deal with India, and this can be utilized to make sure the Canadian and Indian government security concerns are protected against Pakistan-sponsored Khalistan movement. The Indian High Commission has condemned the incident and urged Canadian authorities to take swift action against the perpetrators. The BAP's Swaminarayan Mandir in Toronto was vandalized by Canadian Khalistani extremists, evoking condemnation from the Indian mission.